ICSOM's new series of monthly videos to feature our musicians of color. I'm Paul Austin, ICSOM president and horn player in the Grand Rapids Symphony. I'm very pleased to be speaking today with Anthony Anurca, bassoonist with the Jacksonville Symphony. Anthony Anurca was born and raised in Jacksonville. Interestingly, Anthony is the first ever Jacksonville Symphony Youth Orchestra member to become a core orchestra musician with the Jacksonville Symphony. Anthony is the ICSOM alternate delegate and also serves on the orchestra's DEI committee. And I first met Anthony in Utah at ICSOM's 2019 annual conference and found out that both of us had attended the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. No, we're not going to talk about how those people put chili on top of spaghetti as a claim to fame, or we're not going to ask about Anthony's favorite flavor of Grater's ice cream. We're going to stick to standard musician questions. So welcome.
It's the color of this wall right here. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, okay, well, we could squeeze that question at the end. Yeah, so welcome, Anthony. Glad to speak to you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul.
Absolutely. Well, let's launch into some of these questions here. We have 5 questions for you. And of course, the very first obvious question is, do you recall the first time that you ever heard an orchestra? And if so, tell us about it.
Okay, I've been racking my brain for this. The first time I heard an orchestra live or just in general?
Whatever you like. You can do a little else if you wish.
Well, I mean, for me, it was TV, watching cartoons. I watched Saturday morning cartoons. I watched Tom and Jerry. One of my first CDs was Mad About Cartoons. And that was kind of like really my first exposure to listening to orchestra music. I grew up, my sister played the piano. I played the piano, and my brother, he's a musician. He plays drums and guitar, and my parents, they love music. So, I mean, I always had music around me. I watched a lot of MTV as a kid. I was born on the same day as MTV as it went on the air. So I'm definitely a child of the 80s. But the first time I heard an orchestra, I think maybe live, was playing in one in youth orchestra. That was really my first time hearing an orchestra around me live. But the other times hearing an orchestra for the first time was the Jacksonville Symphony. I remember seeing Beethoven 9 and just remembering the grandeur of it all and the massive sound coming from the musicians and the chorus, and just, thinking, wow, what a sound, what joy.
That's great. It's great. So now, of course, I'm curious though, because of all the instruments that you heard around you and on the cartoons, must have led you to the bassoon.
Well, I think the bassoon found me. I played piano. I played violin for like a minute in 3rd grade. Didn't last very long. But when I was in 5th grade, I really wanted to be the lead in our elementary school play called Of Mice and Mozart. I really wanted to be Mozart, but fate had it that I had a cold the day of the auditions, and I didn't get cast as Mozart. I got cast as Herr Schochner. And I was enrolled to go into chorus into middle school and all that. And after that happened, I was like, no, not doing it. So when I went to middle school, I went to Fletcher Middle School here in Jacksonville Beach. And we had what was called pre-band, and we played recorders. And I remember seeing, they showed us a video of the band instruments, and it was a video probably from the 60s or 70s. It had the very thick, rimmed glasses, which, are in vogue today. But I just remember they had a section in it, and it was the bassoon, but the bassoon was behind a screen, and all you saw was the silhouette of the player, and you saw the vocal. And I just thought that was really cool. And I joined band the next year, and when they asked us what instrument we wanted to play, I was like, either piano or what was that instrument? Bassoon. So I started playing in 7th grade, and my very first instrument, I pulled it out and I brought one of the keys. So I was like, what does this key do? And the spring snapped and was just hanging. And I was like, my bassoon's broken. So luckily I had a second one and I played on that instrument. But yeah, that's kind of how I chose the bassoon. I just remember this video and it was just like this it had this mystery behind it. And I just was like, whoa, that's cool.
You must have thrilled your music teacher by marching in and saying you wanted the bassoon instead of having to be recruited for it.
Right? It's like, this kid knows what a bassoon is.
Yeah. And Anthony, I'm really sorry that you weren't cast in 5th grade as Mozart. And I just want to say, I'm so glad you could pick up the shattered pieces of your life and move on.
That's what it's all about, right?
So, talking about being a professional orchestral musician, did you have an aha moment when you knew that that is exactly what you wanted to do?
I mean, it was in youth orchestra, I think like 8th grade. I mean, it was like the year I got into youth orchestra. I just remember playing and feeling everything around me, feeling all the sound around me, and just like how great that felt, you know, like people coming together to create, you know, the thing. You know, for me, like you know, as a kid, like sometimes I felt like a little out of place with people, like, you know, I was mixed race, and, you know, I grew up with Filipinos all around me, great food. You know, I just always felt like kind of the weird kid because I was like, I had like, you know, the earlobes and, but also like, I don't know, just parts of me felt like I kind of felt like an outsider. And once I found playing in an orchestra, I felt like I belonged, and the power that like I felt when you'd like hear the orchestra play loud, or when it played soft, or when someone would play something in an infinitely intricate way. You know, the way it moves you and the way it changes every second. I just loved it. And I just knew that was like what I wanted to do.
Sounds like it's a good fit for you, definitely. So, Jacksonville Symphony, is there a special concert you will always remember?
Oh, there's lots of great concerts. But one in particular, this was before I was a corps member. It's when after I played in the New World Symphony from 2004 to 2007. And after that, for 2 years, I was freelancing around the Southeast. And I was playing a lot in Jacksonville. They had the lockout, and one of the players had taken work elsewhere. And so a lot of work opened up, and I was playing a lot. And it was actually one of the pop shows that we did, and it was for the Eagles like tour band. And I didn't know, like one of the lead singer was in our bathroom, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're one of the Eagles!" And he was like, "Oh wait, no, I'm not him, but you know, thank you, I really appreciate it." I had just found out around that time that my father had breast cancer, and you know, it was a scary time for our family. And my dad and my mom, they love the Eagles, so I had just like started playing electric bassoon, where you like have a vocal that has a microphone next to it, and you put like electric pedals to it to change the sound. And I remember I asked the guy, I was like, "Hey, could I play on Hotel California with you?" Because the orchestration, it was strange. It was like, well, it was like all strings, bassoons and horns, and that was it. There was no other winds. There was bassoons and horns. And the bassoons had a good part. We had a melody in the Hotel California, and you know, I was like, I would love to, like, you know, be able to play this for my dad. And so I asked him, I was like, "Can I play?" And he was like, "Yeah, come on." And they, you know, they were like, you know, one of the personnel managers was joking, "You're not getting solo pay for this." But you know, you know, I had one song where I got to play it, and I just remember like, I remember standing on stage. It was the beginning of the second half, and I was just like standing there. And when I when I first saw the bassoon in that video I was telling you about, it was this blue light. And so I was standing there and I was like closing my eyes, because that's like, I like to close my eyes when I play. If there's like something that's I really want to emote, like I want to close my eyes. And I just remember closing my eyes and I could feel this blue light casting on me. You know, it was fun. You know, the pop shows are lit really great. So there's this blue light, and you know, we started to play. The orchestra started to play the song, and then you know, I started playing, and I just started doing my thing. And I just remember like seeing in my mind's eye, it was like I saw like a star in my mind's eye, and I felt the star come to me. And then there was a section where it was like all improvisation, and I just remember it was just like something kind of came over me, and like it just playing, just like kind of expressing, you know, what was inside. My parents were there, you know, and at my eyes, and there was the concert master, and he was like improvising with me too. And we just had this really great moment of connection with the music. And I just remember like after the song finished, like the audience, like I remember the people in the front row jumped out of their seats, and they were just like, you know, so happy and so like excited, you know. And you know, I was just thinking, well, man, you know, saw the bassoon for the first time like I did, like, you know, with the silhouette with the blue light. It just felt this, it was just this kind of circular moment for me. And that was probably one of the most memorable concerts I've had with Jacksonville Symphony.
That really sounds amazing, the way that you're able to tie in your beginnings of discovering the bassoon with your family. And it sounds like you've long forgotten that fifth grade disappointment at this point.
Right.
So if today's Anthony Anurca could give one piece of advice to himself during his student days, what would that be?
I thought a lot about this. And, you know, I think what I would tell myself is to always love yourself. Always love yourself, and don't let like, you know, an audition that doesn't go your way, or you get into, you know, this school or that school or that, or you're not doing the prescribed, you know, path, you know, to what you see everybody else do. You know, I would tell myself to love yourself and forge your path, you know, take each step every day, moving forward. You know, I think it's hard. Rejection is hard, especially in, you know, our business. You know, we face rejection a lot. And I think it's important to not let anybody's rejection of you to embody that as a rejection of yourself, but to always love yourself, and to always hold yourself and treat yourself kindly, and to, you know, no matter what, to always move forward, and to always hold your head high.
Really great advice. Really great. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So final thoughts from you, Anthony, not a question. Anything you wish to share, or feel free to let us know something that we've not asked yet on this interview.
Okay, well, you had mentioned Grader's ice cream. So my favorite flavor is black raspberry chocolate chip. It's like the color right here.
Of course.
Fresh Market sells it, and I'm just like, so excited. But final thoughts. Well, you know, I feel I'm very grateful for the life that being an orchestra musician has given me. You know, for the people that I've been able to meet, for the places I've been able to go, for the music I've been able to play and to share with others. You know, music is like a spark, and, you know, it grows and you can feel it. You know, there's something so exciting about playing in an orchestra where, you know, this one person like does something and you feel it, and then it just like kind of catches fire. And, you know, there's those performances that you're like, wow, that was really special, you know. And when you're first starting, it's like everyone is really special, right? Because you've only done a handful of concerts, and when you get to when you're 600 years old, you've done thousands and thousands of concerts. But I think what we do is really important for the world we live in. It gives people an opportunity to sit down, collect themselves, and experience something that they may have never experienced before, or experience something that they absolutely love and cherish, and it builds inside of them that feeling of love, like I was saying earlier, like love yourself. like what we do is the business of love is the business of expressing one's soul. And I think that's why it can be really hard what we do, is because people say don't take it personally, but it's like, how do you not take it personally when it is it's what you hold dearly in your life. It is an extension of you. Your instrument is like another, it's part of you. So I just, all the ICSOM members and all the musicians out there in the world, keep doing, what you're doing, open your hearts and let it be.
That's great. Great closing thoughts, Anthony. Thank you so much. And with that, we wrap up our conversation with ICSOM musician Anthony Anurca. Anthony, thank you so much for sitting down with us today so we could get to know you a bit more.
Thank you.